Hey everybody, Robert Kennedy III here, RK3, and today's verses comes from Daniel chapter 6, verse 10, and it says from the Christian Standard Bible, when Daniel learned that the document had been signed, he went into his house. The windows in its upstairs room opened towards Jerusalem, and 3 times a day he got down on his knees, prayed, gave thanks to God, just as he had done before. Now here's the context of this. Daniel's colleagues, his jealous colleagues, conspirators, created this document and got King Darius, or tricked King Darius, into signing this document that said if they worshiped or anybody prayed to anyone other than the king for the next 30 days, they would then be put to death through the lion's den. Now, here's the thing that I notice in this text. It's not even so much that Daniel prayed. It's that it says he prayed, gave thanks to God, just as he had done before. Now, here's the thing. Daniel learned that the document had been signed. Daniel learned that his death sentence, his death decree had been signed, right? And he went and gave thanks to God, just as he had done before. Now, I don't know how many of you understand this. Here's what happens. A lot of times we think about gratitude, or we think about thanksgiving as this thing that we give to God after he's brought us through. This thing that we give to God as a result of what he has done for us. Right? We talk about praising through, but we don't always talk about praising for that thing, that hard thing, that tough thing, that trial that we're going through. And here's Daniel. He had just been given the worst news that he could possibly get at that time in his life. He'd been given his death sentence. He'd been backstabbed. He'd been double-crossed. He'd been hoodwinked, run amok, bamboozled. Yeah, he didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on him, right? And so at this point, what he does is he returns home and he kneels and he prays and he gives thanks to God, just as he had done before. Here is the thing. Daniel didn't give thanks simply because it was something that he just thought of in that moment. It was a habit that he cultivated. He gave thanks to God no matter what was happening. He gave thanks to God in the good. He gave thanks to God in the bad, because he knew that God was going to bring him through, or God had control of the ultimate outcome. So no matter what was happening, no matter what situation, no matter what trial, no matter what obstacle, he simply decided that his thing that he needed to do was to give thanks to God, just as he had done before. So the question for you is, when do you give thanks? Do you give thanks only in the good, or do you give thanks to God always, just as you had done before?